When you were little, did you ever squat down beside a little roadside ditch or pond, staring into the water? Tiny black dots were wiggling everywhere. Tadpoles. You watched them swim around and wondered what they would become. Then your mom probably said something magical. Those will grow up to be frogs. And maybe, just maybe, your childhood brain thought, wait, if they turn into frogs, could one of them turn into a frog prince? Fast forward a few years. After elementary school science class, reality hits. Yes, tadpoles really do turn into frogs. But sadly, none of them turn into princes. Still, their transformation is pretty amazing. So today, let's review the life cycle of a frog. The process begins with eggs. Adult frogs usually lay hundreds or even thousands of tiny eggs in water. These eggs often float together in a jelly-like cluster called Frogspawn. Inside each egg, a tiny embryo slowly develops. After several days, something exciting happens. The eggs hatch. Out comes a tadpole. At this stage, tadpoles look more like tiny fish than frogs. They have a long tail, gills to breathe underwater, and no legs yet. Tadpoles spend most of their time swimming around and eating algae or small plants. But their bodies are already preparing for a big transformation. After that, the tadpoles begin to grow and change. This stage is where the magic really happens. First, they start to develop lungs, so they can breathe air. Then, their legs begin to form. Usually the back legs appear first, followed by the front legs. Meanwhile, their long tail slowly becomes shorter. Their bodies are changing from a fish-like swimmer into something that can live both in water and on land. Next, the tadpole becomes a froglet. A froglet already looks a lot like a small frog. It has 4 legs, a body shaped like a frog, and only a tiny tail left. At this point, the froglet starts leaving the water more often and exploring the land nearby. But it still has a little growing to do. Finally, the froglet grows into an adult frog. The tail disappears completely. The frog now has strong legs for jumping and well-developed lungs for breathing on land. Adult frogs live near water and eat insects, worms, and other small animals. And when they are ready, they reproduce by laying eggs in the water. Which brings us right back to the beginning. So overall, the frog's life cycle unfolds in several stages, from eggs to tadpoles, then growing tadpoles, froglets, and finally adult frogs. Each stage shows a different form and takes time to develop. This process is called metamorphosis, one of nature's most fascinating transformations. And even though none of them turn into frog princes, watching a tiny tadpole grow into a jumping frog is still pretty magical. But here's the bigger picture. Frogs aren't just tiny jumping wonders. They're a diverse, mostly carnivorous group that's been around for over 265 million years, long before the dinosaurs roamed. Today, you can find them almost everywhere, from tropical rainforests to subarctic regions, though the rainforest is where most species are concentrated. Unfortunately, frog populations have declined dramatically in recent decades. Over 1/3 of species are now considered threatened, and diseases like chytridiophyses have caused global declines. Next time you see a pond or a quiet ditch full of tadpoles, take a moment to appreciate them. There aren't as many as there used to be. Take a closer look. You might be watching the very beginning of a frog's incredible life cycle. And who knows? Maybe somewhere in there is the next champion jumper of the pond when you were little.